Hey everybody, BowserPlush here. Welcome to a plush collection video for the start of 2026. I've not done one of these for a good while, and I wanted to do one for a little bit, but just never had the time to. But now I do, so we're gonna get straight on into it. I don't have any order for any of these, so let's just start with whatever I have closest to me. Starting off, we have a light blue Yoshi, a pink Yoshi, although this one's a bootleg, one singular Luigi, this large Shy Guy, this Mushroom, this KK Slider, who isn't in the best shape unfortunately, but I don't really use him for anything because of the pose, so he just sort of dangles from a lamp I've got. Hammer Brother, this one's a newer one. I'm not the biggest fan of how he looks, but once we get to the other Hammer Brother, you'll see why I picked him up. Toon Zelda, Toon Link, Pokemon Morpeko, I believe, an older Boo, Pokemon Oshawott, Pokemon Meowth, and the Alolan Dex Rotom. It's like a little keychain thing. Pokemon Poplio, a newer Bowser, this one's actually official, and as you can see in the corner, a Hornet, Pokemon Zora, I think I'm saying that correctly, and a Pokemon Mimikyu, one of a few I have. Red Yoshi, that's definitely a bootleg. I don't quite remember how I got him though, so if I ever need like an evil Yoshi, I use this one, because it just kind of makes sense. A blue toad, a green toad, a mushroom, a Cheep Cheep, a like handmade Goomba. This one's a little bit daft looking, so he had the name Crazed Old Gooms. I don't know if I'd still give him that name nowadays though. And a second one, a more conventional looking one. A headless, well not headless, a hatless Mario that I hope to one day make into a Dr. Mario if I ever get around to actually customizing these things. This bootleg Morton, a small, I think it's Inky? Yes, it's Inky. Small Inky ghost, a plush die. I got a 4. This from, oh, I do forget. Forgive me, I've not really kept up with FNAF anymore. I kind of lost interest to me after 2020, but I noticed from one of the newer games. A pig from Angry Birds, a Bullet Bill who is supposed to have a little thing you put on here that you can connect to the surfaces. I got rid of it when I was younger because it was annoying me. Also, the hands are supposed to stay like this. But when I was younger, I got them cut off because I think it just looks better. Big fan of this Bullet Bill, although I've had him for so long. A small Mega Mushroom. I do really like this one. The Freddy from the first game, and I actually have an interesting story about this, but I will share it later. Everyone's favorite landlord, Tom Nook. I always had a soft spot for Tom Nook. I know a lot of people try to well, it's not so much prevalent nowadays, but back in the day there was a whole prevalence of, he's an evil, well, because he's a landlord, of course, people think he's evil, which is fair enough, but I never really saw it, and then in the more newer games, they're trying to make the guy seem more nice, which I think is a bit deliberate from how he just seems to be perceived everywhere. This old Bob-omb, I'm not sure if this is official, but I like it, although its little fuse thing is starting to break after so many years. This custom-made purple toad there that I got at a car boot sale several years ago, so I don't know who actually made this, but it's a part of the collection, so it goes there. In the same vein, I also have this potted fireflower. This I really can't use in many videos, so I just like to position it around my house every so often. It's like a nice little decoration piece. An older Diddy Kong. I'm not the biggest fan of this plush, mostly because the hat just keeps doing that, which I think is daft. I'd like the hat to do that. This star, which apparently is, well, it just says from Mario Party, but I do like this star. It also has this little connection thing on the top that I'm tempted to get rid of. I don't know. Smaller piggy number 1, and a smaller piggy number 2, and a mini mushroom. This basic ghost, it's not really connected to anything, it's just one of those massively produced ones. You have, I believe this is a Chaos Chow from the Sonic series, does it say on the thing? It does not, but I believe this is a Chaos Chow. I only picked it up because I just think he looks neat. One of my favorite characters, the voice, Zombie. Although with Zombie, I just gotta put I put a lisp on anything, and I don't even think it's like a proper accent, but he's a lot of fun, because I like to do the stupid. I like to do the stupid with him. He's a very easy one to do the stupid with. Have a Score Bunny. I didn't personally pick Score Bunny when I played Sword and Shield, although I never finished Sword and Shield. I went with Sobble, who is not here. Monty Mole. A custom-made Whacker plush. I think this is from one of Goomzilla's tutorials, although I may be wrong. We didn't have the right color of blue, so he just ends up looking like a whacker from the N64 days, which I suppose would be the more correct name for then they were more common and not endangered like they were in 1000 Year Door and Super Paper Mario. I miss Whacker. I hope Whacker reappears someday, even if it's a slightly outdated mechanic. A very old Lakitu that I am hoping to get a new Lakitu one day, especially because this one's kind of weird. It's more like, sure, you can have it like this and it looks okay, but then if you have it from any other angle, the cloud just looks a bit big, and also it gets stained way too easily. Like, that's even after cleaning. I just can't clean it. A large dry bones. I don't have any other dry bones. I'm hoping to get another dry bones at some point, but this one is very large. It is apparently a bootleg, but it's a pretty good bootleg all things considered, when I think the only real fault is this, but I remember it being like it since I bought it, so I really can't complain. Oh, and the snout being weird. We have Petey Piranha. Really don't know what I'm going to be doing with Petey as of late, but Petey's fun. He's missing his center mouth, like center teeth mouth. That's what he's missing. But Petey's fun. Always liked Petey. There was like a brief moment where they kept bringing Petey back, but then they just sort of stopped bringing Petey back, and that made me a little bit sad. Have a Birdo. Have a Litten. Pokemon Piplup. We have Grookey. I like Grookey's design. It's neat. I believe this is from one of the newer updates of Minecraft. Oh yes, it's Happy Gast. And you can put a thing on it. I don't play modern Minecraft that much anymore, just because I don't have the time. Pichu. So yes, can do this. Rosalina. This is like an official Rosalina. As you'll see later, I was using an unofficial Rosalina for a little while, and while that one was nice, once you compare it to an official one, it's a night and day difference. Pac-Man. And, if you'll give me a moment, a bigger Pac-Man. I really do not know what I'm supposed to do with this big Pac-Man, but I'm stuck with this big Pac-Man. I also got this giant, like, scared ghost along with the Pac-Man. They weren't in the same group. I think I got them both in a grabber, but that was a decade ago at this point. A second Mimikyu, a normal Pikachu. This more modern looking Bob-omb, if we compare it to the older one, you can see a bit of a night and day difference. This one has a little voice box inside of it, but I don't think it works. A Koopa Trooper, and one of these turtles that in the early days of the channel I would refer to as Coop. There's a second one somewhere. His name is Coop. This like red turtle, which for a brief bit of time I tried to use as a red Koopa Trooper, but that didn't really go anywhere. I didn't really use them that much. They were supposed to be, they're like a Valentine's Day gift that I've just had since I can remember. So it was either use it as a red turtle, a fire turtle, or sometimes I used it as a female Koopa Trooper, but it didn't really go anywhere. One of these were all the rage for a little bit. I remember seeing a bunch of them, like foldable little ones. They have like a happy face on the inside, although I personally just like to keep it with the frowny face because I just think it looks better. This giant Bowser, which I only picked up because my local game shop was shutting down and they had it for a reasonable discount. And then I find out they're all shut down, so a neat final thing to get from a game, I suppose. One of the two 2012 Olympic mascots that you can't pay me enough to remember the name of. A red Yoshi, a yellow Yoshi, a yellow Toad. This pumpkin, though it's more of a decorative piece than anything. A very tiny angry bird. This old Bowser Jr., I definitely a bootleg. I tried to look up this company and I got nothing. Absolutely nothing. A very tiny purple sheep. I don't know why I own a very tiny purple sheep. Alex from Minecraft. Very small. I don't know why she is so small. A pear. Or an apricot, I'm sorry. Stormtrooper Pig from Angry Birds Star Wars #1. And Stormtrooper Pig from Angry Birds Star Wars #2. A black sheep from Minecraft that has a really weird hump in its head, and I have never understood why. An ocelot. I should use this in more things. Black Yoshi. Now, my old green Yoshi that I rather liked. It was a rather good plush. And then, yeah, I left some white tack on it and it never went away. So I've not really used this Yoshi much anymore, and I don't want to sell it because that's gross. A red angry bird using Luke Skywalker in the... I forget the name, I should ask someone. I'm just gonna call it the Red 5 helmet. You know what it is. There's not a single person who hasn't seen Star Wars yet. A white Yoshi. And I do forget what this one is called, but I know he's from Angry Birds Rio. Cappy from Mario Odyssey, a very wonderful plush. I'm a very big fan of this plush. Sometimes I just like to pose him in random places because he really can just work for that. A Tamagotchi, and this FNAF one Foxia. Now I can say this little story about this one and the Freddy. So, these two were the best luck I ever had with a crane game, as I got the both of them on a singular pound coin. I think that's neat, even if Foxy's eye is a bit beaten up, but it's always been a bit beaten up. Kirby, Princess Peach, a very old Princess Peach, one of the earliest plushes I ever had. The Mario that I use, I've got a soft spot for this Mario look. I know a lot of people prefer I think it's the Sensi 2005 Mario Party one, but this one was special to me when I was younger, so I always have a soft spot for him, even if he looks a bit daft. The second Monty Mole, one of my personal favorite yet underrated characters from Animal Crossing, Rover. Always was a big fan of Rover, mostly because he was so elusive. You could only really see him once in most games until New Horizons does an event with him. Sobble, this Togepi that has something on the, I don't know what this is, but it has some rules on it. I got this for a steal because I got this at a charity shop for a singular pound, so I ain't complaining. One of my personal favorite characters, Nabbit. Always been a fan of Nabbit, always will be a fan of Nabbit. I could say a lot of things I like about Nabbit, but mostly comes down to Bunny. A custom-made Flowey the Flower plush. I was always a big fan of Flowey. I always found his character like so interesting, so he ends up being the only character I have in like plush form from that series, well, depends if you include Deltarune with Undertow. I personally don't, but I know a lot of people do. I don't know why his mouth is crooked. This Captain Toad that I kind of want to get replaced one day just because of that. And it also dangles a lot. Besides that, it's all relatively fine. He should have had a radish in that hand, but I got rid of it. And I don't know why I didn't get rid of the pickaxe, but big fan of Captain Toad's game and a big fan of the plush. A more basic Toad plush, which looks rather similar to the Captain Toad one actually. Just same rough face, even if that one is a lighter, well, not a lighter shade, but like a different shade for the face. Boom Boom, who may be a fake Boom Boom, but if it's a fake Boom Boom, it's a really good fake. So I'm not complaining. And the Luigi to go with this Mario. Same things I already said about this Mario, but with Luigi instead. A more modern Boo, although this one's a little bit dirty, oh no. And then we have Steve, who ends up being the character in the Minecraft videos I understand how to use the least. I'm being serious, I always struggle with what to do with this guy. It's always been about the other mobs, so whenever it's come to Steve, I just have no idea what to do, so he just sort of ends up with the B-plot, as I like to call it. Kamek. Always been a big fan of Kamek, one of my favorite characters. One of my favorite, like, subspecies of Koopa, even though he rarely shows up, and, well, Magic Koopas in general don't really show up as much as... They show up a fair amount in the 3D games, but besides that, you don't really see him that much. Have a more modern Donkey Kong. I do like this. I have another Donkey Kong, but that Donkey Kong is very difficult to work with. This one is a lot easier to work with and/or pose just because of the size. The Creeper plush that I use, I don't know what company made this. All I know is I've had it for over a decade, and so it's special to me. This one... I don't remember what this starter's called. Never played Generation 9. I also don't remember what this one's called. All I know is he has a cool hairdo. I have a Sylveon. I'm slowly working my way through getting all of the evolutions, as I feel like that's a very obtainable plush collection to get. I already have a couple of them. Morgana from Persona 5. This big toad that I kind of got as like a mercy gift at one of those, you know, fate things where you try and put the balls into the barrel. The person running it saw I was trying my best and just sort of gave it to me out of pity, which was really nice of them. Bloop. A second toad. I don't remember when I got this toad, I just have this toad. The third Gen 9 starter, I don't remember what you're called. I think this is Totodile. Yeah, Embryo. Oh look, it's Drowned. I do like Drowned. I like the little story I gave Drowned. But that's it. I don't like Drowns in the game. I think they're one of the most annoying things they've ever added to Minecraft, so, meh. The old Bowser I used, I don't really plan on using... Oh god. I don't really plan on using this Bowser much in videos anymore. If anything, if I'm going to use Bowser, I'm going to use this one, just because it looks a bit more consistent and it's official, and that's about it. A second bunny. Everybody's favorite secretary, Isabel. The Splatoon 1 Inkling Girl. And the puppets from FNAF 2.
Enderman. I always love voicing Enderman, because I get to do this sort of stupid voice.
Well, every voice I do is stupid, but this one is the fun type of stupid. Speaking of stupid voices, it's the witch! I'm very shocked I can still do this voice, because I don't do it that much anymore, but... A green Yoshi. Big fan of green Yoshi. This old, definitely bootleg chain chomp that's plastic on the inside has left him permanently with a gaping mouth. I'm hoping to get an official one day. Another one of those squid things, although this one I used in a video, so that's cool. Another blue Yoshi. A boomerang brother, which apparently is fake, but I love Boomerang Brother because he can like shake his boomerang around. He is cool. And we have Hammer Brother. This is the Hammer Brother I used since the beginning, since the first video on the channel, but I don't know how to use it much anymore because his hammer has completely broken. It is extremely lopsided, so I'm not too sure what the future of him's gonna bring, but he has a special place much like this BowserPlush does. A red Koopa Trooper, which I think is supposed to be a paratrooper, but doesn't have wings for some reason. Trico. I don't know why every time I pick up Trico, I have to do this voice with him, and he's a lizard. He's a little sneaky wizard man. Woo. I used him in a video recently. Bunny. That's actually her name. Yet another red toad. Jigglypuff. And this more up-to-date Diddy Kong that has the exact same and this more up-to-date Diddy Kong, which I think is just a little bit more easily posable than the old one. You're not going to believe this. Another red toad. Rowlet. Psyduck. Waluigi. Squirtle. Red Bob-omb. Wiggler. Mario in a Goomba shoe, which was one of the special 35th anniversary ones. Princess Daisy. Flareon. A snow golem, chicken, Plusle. Its counterpart that I believe is named Minen, Pom Pom. Much like Boom Boom, I think this is also a bootleg, but it's also a very good bootleg, although it doesn't come with her like little, like, well, she had a boomerang in 3D Land, and then had a throwing star in 3D World, so yeah. This Wario plush that is definitely a fake, but I love him far more than any official Wario plush has ever been. Just look at him, he's perfect. Hey, basic Eevee. A Wooloo. Wooloo. Woo. I think this is Vanny from one of the newer FNAF games. They're neat. Again, I don't. Ah, yes. Goombas was a basic Goomba, but I called him Goombas, and I tried to give him this sort of voice because I thought it was funny at the time, and now... Yeah, I can still do the voice. Look at me. Hey. And we have one of the, I think this is one of the World of Nintendo Goombas. Some people don't like it because they think it looks weird. I think this looks fine. Like, this looks like a Goomba, and they help me distinguish it from Goombas, who is all the way over there now. Good thing for me I have a second one, because I bought these two in a pair. The Koopa Trooper that is known as Koops, and I can tell this is Koops because its little thingy tag has been broken, so, you know. Little baby mushroom. It's time for Skeleton. Skeleton is a bit awkward to voice because I don't really know what sort of accent this is, but he's basically the actual main character of Minecraft Plush, more than the player. Sorry, Steve, wherever you are. The second Boo, this smaller bullet bill that's a little bit more realistic. The Arch Illager. And a custom-made Mr. L. This is the same Luigi like the other Luigi you saw, and like the Headless Mario, this was one that we actually turned into a custom plush. Big fan of this one. This very tiny, very upset looking Bluebird from Angry Birds. This small Goomba. And this is the first chunk of plushes that I own, and while I would love to get the rest of them out and have a full collection just on display, I'm gonna need to clean these up. Right then, continuing on a new day, now I've cleaned everything up, we have one I'm gonna get out of the way now because it seems the easiest. This giant Mimikyu. No plans to use her in like any videos or anything, I just thought it made sense to include her in the collection. Going to be moving on to a bunch of bootlegs now, so we have this Iggy, as well as this Wendy. This Larry, which is a little different, and I'm hoping I can explain why in a moment. That's because of this Larry. Back in 2021, we had gotten a dog for a brief time, and I left this Larry unattended, and yeah. The plush itself is still intact, except he's lost his eyes and his wand. The wand's somewhere in one of these boxes now I've tidied up. I may use it for a prop someday, but I didn't have the heart to get rid of this, and I used it in a Halloween special once, so that's why I have 2 Larrys. This old Donkey Kong, not the biggest fan of him, mostly because of the eyes, and because of his size he was a little bit difficult to maneuver. I'm a bigger fan of the newer Donkey Kong, just because this one's a lot more easy to maneuver and I think just looks better overall. This Bulbasaur, which I'm fairly certain is a bootleg, I mean, something about it just looks like a bootleg. Angry Bird Red. Matilda, I think that's her name. Yeah, her name's Matilda. This shiny Pikachu, well not shiny as in a Pokemon shiny, but as a literal shiny golden Pikachu. I believe this was for the 20th anniversary, as I swear I saw this Pikachu plush a lot about 10 years ago. This wasn't mine, it was given to me, so I'm not fully sure on the details. Another one of these squid things. This Angry Birds Space Bombird. Not really been able to use it anywhere, but I saw it in a used place and I couldn't say no. Angry Birds Star Wars Darth Vader, or as I personally like to call him, Pork Vader. Another one of the Pork Troopers, as I like to call them. And we even have a smaller one. This face of KK Slider. A pumpkin that came with the ghost thing I was talking about earlier. Speaking of which, here's the second one. Have another normal pig. I don't think it's as easy to tell them apart as I used to, but I think that one may be Porkins and this one may be Porky. This Spyro that I won in a grabber, I'm not the biggest fan of Spyro. I played one of the games on the DS when I was 4, and I played a little bit of Reignited, but it never fully clicked with me. The Angry Birds Space Red Bird. Angry Birds Movie Red, which I did some very, admittedly cringy stuff with, but it's kind of funny. I'm not the biggest fan of that movie, and I've not seen either 2 or 3, so don't even ask me about it. This bootleg Ludwig, bootleg Lemmy, this bootleg Roy, and this bootleg Rosalina. As you can see, there's a pretty big disparity between the official one and this fake one, mostly because of the long arms. She has a kind of face, and just has weirdly long arms. I kind of like the face, it can grow on me, but the arms just sort of, yeah, the arms don't do it for me. Also, her medallion is purple for some reason, even though I swear it's never been that particular shade of purple. Now you may ask why I made a focus on all of the bootleg Koopalings, and that is simply because Larry, Roy, Iggy, Lemmy, Morton, Ludwig, and Wendy. Around 2 years ago, I was finally able to get my hands on some genuine official Koopaling plushes after using those for over a decade. I really did like these ones. I didn't know for so long these were bootleg. I didn't even notice that Lemmy's hair was wrong. But I made it a personal goal of myself to one day get all of the official ones, and I did. I'm very frustrated because this little bit on Roy, it's not too noticeable, but it's a bit open, and then Morton just has this. But I didn't want to faff around with returning it because it already cost me so much. I also got this Bowser Jr. I'm a bit indifferent on this Bowser Jr., but I use it over the bootleg one. That's just out of personal preference. This weird, squirrel creature thing, I actually do not know. This smaller Yoshi, which I think I used in place of the other Yoshi for a couple of the videos, although it's been a long time, I don't fully remember. I like this one more than that other one, even though the reason I don't like that other one was for different reasons, but now I have a more up-to-date one. I don't really plan on using this one that much. Maybe if I want to do something with a Mega Mushroom, I could use this one, but I'm not too sure. This pig, it's just a pig, I don't know what to tell you. Now this Spiny comes with the Lakitu that we saw earlier. Originally it was attached to the Lakitu via a little, not wire, string thing, but I personally didn't like that, so I asked to get it chopped off, and so now it's separate, which I think works a little better. He needs a clean goodness. How did that? This Axolotl, which was gonna be in a video, but then it fell flat. This is, I believe, Fun Time Foxy. This was from that FNAF game that was in the underground lab. That was Sister location. Yeah, that was the last one I remember liking. The ever so elegant Bumblebee. I personally don't fully enjoy all of the newer mobs they add to Minecraft, but the bee has been one I do like. It's nothing to do with Minecraft itself, it's just personal preference. This Fire Mario. I don't actually know why I have this Fire Mario. I think he just showed up at my house one day. An even smaller Yoshi. I actually really like this guy. He's really cute. Like, look. I might keep these out so I can just get like an evolution of Yoshi. Like a mini mushroom normal and the super mushroom one. Maybe I'll have to get one of the like the really old like huge one day. This Pac-Man from Pac-Man The Ghostly Adventures. I've never watched the show. I don't intend to watch the show. All of my knowledge of this character comes from the Luigi Fan 001's decade-old videos at that point, and that makes me feel old. This Toadette, which I think is a bootleg, but unlike all of the Toads, this Toadette comes out really good and just looks official enough that I really don't mind it being a bootleg. Evan Savers, we have more Angry Birds, starting off with the Bomb Bird. And then with yet another pig, but this one, I remember this one as like this, but the one was the easiest to remember because it looks different than all of the others. I'm honestly surprised how well it's kept up. This hard hat pig that has a detachable hard hat. Do believe, yeah, this one I used for a propeller pig. I think that was his name. Have one bluebird. We have a second bluebird. Have the Icebird, who's become extremely squished. Icebird is actually one of my, I think from a design, it's one of my personal favorite birds, and I loved doing stuff with his character. I liked playing up the fact that he was clearly an alien. I think it added a lot to the story, even if it didn't make much sense in retrospect. But if I ever do more Angry Bird stuff, that's something I could do a video on, is explaining what Icebird was in relation to the series, not relation to the game itself. This like very scary bluebird that has an open mouth, and I hate them, and also their eyes are different, and oh no. The final normal bluebird. I don't know, we don't talk about that one. The Yoda bird, which I had for several years. I never used him. I used him in one video. This happened to him, and I've not used him again. The other helmet pig, this one was one of the original 3, if you remember. It was the tiny pig, this pig, and pork trooper. And King Pig, whose crown is finally broke after all of these years. This is how it came to me, and I've always been upset about that, but I tried to work it in as like, in the story of the series, King Pig was down on his luck and was no longer the real king, and like pig kind of fraction. That was an interesting premise. I think had the crown not been busted like that, I would have treated him, I don't know, more seriously, but I would have done stuff differently. And Chuck, I used to talk really fast as Chuck. I don't remember how younger we did that. Have this larger Bowser Jr., which only really existed in the first year of the show, and then I was able to get a smaller Bowser Jr. Now I just put this Bowser Jr. out and around if I can find a good place to pose him. It's a special plush to me, even though it's bootleg and you can see that to reattach the eyebrows a couple of times. One thing that is cool that you can't do on the other 2 as well is you can actually put the bandana in its proper position like he has in some of the games. You can't, I briefly just tried to do it with this one, you can't do it, and you definitely can't do it with the other one. I've tried many times. Dry Bowser. Dry Bowser is a character I want to include in a video one day. It's a very basic video, I've just been trying to find an excuse to do it, but besides that video, I really don't have many clues on what I'm gonna do with Dry Bowser. I did that one joke a few years back, and that was good. How could I forget we have the Ender Dragon? They've made a new one of you. It's a lot thinner. It looks more game accurate, but I like this one a lot. And for whatever reason, his strange-ass child. I don't know why this plush exists, but when I saw it, I knew I had to buy it. And it just says Ender Dragon, like it's not like supposed to be like tiny or chibi Ender Dragon. It's so weird. Not so much of a plush, but I guess it counts for the purposes of this video. This hat came with the Mario Odyssey pre-order. Never fit on my head. I was upset about that even then because it's designed to be more like Mario's actual hat than the other one I see online a lot. There's like an actual hat that just looks like Mario's hat. You get what I mean. Both the different variations of Meloetta. Before Mimikyu was my favorite Pokemon, Meloetta was up there. Not for long, but they have sort of remained my second favorite even to this day. With the looks on their faces, I like to imagine they have rivalries, but it's a very one-sided rivalry because while this one is mad, this one has not had a single forward. Have Marie from Splatoon and also Callie from Splatoon. This custom-made Mimi, who doesn't have a proper dress, just has a sort of anchor thing. Very funny. While it's probably not aged the best, I'm still proud of the video I made that included her. That was a lot of fun to do. This Breath of the Wild Zelda. I might get the link one day. I want to get the link one day, just to make it a pair. This strange, like, mini Bowser shell thing, I think it's a Mario Kart, like, item plush. It's made by this company. I only bring that up because they made a bigger one. Now, I don't know or think I can use this in any video, so it just sort of sits around my house as just sort of like a decoration piece, really. The vessel from Hollow Knight, I refer to it as the vessel. I don't believe that's its official name. It just makes the most sense to me, as it really is ultimately just a vessel, both in the sense of being a vessel for the character and for its purpose in the story. And finally, these three, which are from independent animation stuff that's either on YouTube or external animation stuff. Is from independent animations that exist both on YouTube and elsewhere at this point, and while I do appreciate that I got them, so I have, you know, something to support shows from back in the day that I was interested in, I'm not as interested in them now personally, so they don't really hold that much sentiment for me, but I'm going to keep them just for the sake of, hey, I supported a thing once, but the shows themselves don't personally... I'm not saying they're bad, I don't believe I have the right to say that they're bad, I've just sort of moved on from them. And that concludes the second grouping of the plushes. I unfortunately couldn't get these all into one video as it took longer than I thought, and I quickly remembered why I stopped making these, so I'm going to mix this in with a little aerial shot of the other lumping. Basic questions, of course, would be, you know, why do I collect them? And honestly, I collect them because it's enjoyable. I personally find collecting these a little bit more enjoyable than collecting games, because often I either just don't have the time or the energy to play the games as much as I want to. So having a little something, even if it's, you know, just something like this from games that I do enjoy or other things that I enjoy, it means more to me personally, and that just brings the enjoyment to it. When it comes to making videos, I honestly don't know, because on a personal level, I want to just work on other stuff, other creative hobbies and passions, and work on other things. While I still have an affinity for making stuff with these, it sort of fell to the wayside as a priority because I just want to focus on other stuff. I'm getting older, but I still have ideas for one or two of them every so often, so I may probably just work on it in that respect of, if I have an idea and I have enough of a motive to make it, I'll make it. And that's where we're gonna finish it for today. As always, like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like it. And yeah, until next time, goodbye.